Now, I raised this issue yesterday, and there were some comments saying that I was being particularly nasty about the SNP and I was showing some sort of bias. First of all, my bias is probably towards the SNP. I like Humza Yousaf. I am a great fan of the current leader of the SNP in the House of Commons. I think he's one of the few individuals to actually be able to construct an argument and to speak without notes, which is something that I was always told in the old days of the Parliament was an essential prerequisite, that you don't read from your notes when you're asking a question or delivering a speech in the House of Commons, but that's something which seems to have gone by the by. So the fact that John Swinney, the Deputy First Minister of Scotland, is facing scrutiny over allegations that taxpayer-funded resources were being used improperly for election campaigns, and that this then focuses on parliamentary allowances for purchasing stationery, in this case specifically stamps, which are supposed to be solely for parliamentary duties and seem to have found their way into electioneering. The fact that this has come up doesn't mean that I am hostile to the SNP. I'm hostile to corruption, and it doesn't matter where it emerges. The fact that there is so much corruption evident from the Conservative Party and has been for some time means, unfortunately, that corruption spreads like a disease. And anybody within the vicinity is likely to get touched by that corruption, because that's what people see, that's what people experience. And there's a similar level of corruption, it seems, in in Holyrood with an SNP that's been in power for so long. That length of power seems to encourage stupidity. There are strict rules that MSPs are entitled to claim £5,500 per year for stationery, but these rules must be used make it clear that the stationery must be used exclusively for parliamentary purposes and not for party political activity. And there's a WhatsApp message stream where a staff member of the SNP jokes about a stamp fairing assisting with campaigns. And that's where the story comes from somebody who is bragging about what they're doing, that a large number of second-class stamps had been, quote, inherited, and this staff member implied that they were being used in the election campaign. Whether they are or not is a matter for investigation. But again, on the principle of honour, the leader of the SNP should now be blowing a whistle and get this matter out of the way. It's not enough simply to stand up and use rhetoric to wriggle out of the problem that has been created. Rhetoric has been cheapened by overuse in the current government, by overuse in the SNP government in Scotland, by overuse in the government in Westminster. Nobody believes the rhetoric anymore. And that is the fundamental problem that Swinney is facing, that Rishi Sunak is facing, and that eventually Keir Starmer will inherit, because this won't go away very quickly. The investigation is now part of a broader Operation Branch form, the ongoing inquiry into SNP finances and the potential misuse of public funds. Oh, is that a camper van? Yes, it is. And, the Holyrood authorities have launched an inquiry following the complaint. This has led to Swinney's denial of wrongdoing. But when questioned by Laura Quensberg on the BBC, he expressed confidence but stopped short of giving an explicit guarantee that no wrongdoing occurred, saying, I'm confident that, when asked for if public money was not used by SNP election campaigns, I'm confident that is a token rhetorical flourish that means I don't really know, and I can't put my hand on my heart and say, absolutely, I take responsibility and nothing wrong occurred. If people are going to use rhetoric, they have to use better formulations than this rubbish which is parroted out again and again and again. And this erodes public trust in the SNP. This erodes public trust in the Conservative Party, already under pressure, both already under pressure for other dodgy dealings and inquiries relating to those. The misuse of public funds for election purposes is a serious allegation, and people involved should stand up, take the courage to stand up, and be honourable. And the staff member who raised this initially should be standing up and talking. This is about public debate. It's not about apportioning blame. And this has the power to as surely destroy the SNP as the similar scandal about the Gambling Commission has the power to destroy the Conservative Party. At a time of election, this is not something that can be dismissed with rhetorical flourishes, and an investigation at some point in the distant future. This is about whether or not these parties can command trust and can present themselves as honourable members, potentially honourable members to an electing public. I don't think they can. And the misuse of taxpayer-funded stationery, it seems a silly thing. Let's stamp it out. But the immediate response is the hackneyed, well-worn formulas or formulae that are wheeled out again and again and again, and they don't work in an election campaign. They simply don't work. They look dodgy, they look fake, they look false, they look frightened. And these, as I say, both these campaigns have the capacity to destroy both parties.